All right, if you've donated to Eric Carroll or Patrick Roark for the Whittakers, I need you to listen to this message. Sorry, my voice is a little hoarse. The biggest backyard brawl ever occurred this weekend, and a couple days later, and I still have not fully recovered. But thank you for taking the time to listen to this important message. The state police has officially launched their investigation, and they have released a statement. All right, I'm pulling this from Loot Press. So shout out to the source, lootpress.com. It says West Virginia State Police investigating fraudulent scheme linked to local Whittaker family. The Beckley Detachment of the West Virginia State Police is investigating a fraudulent scheme involving money and merchandise being sent to a Beckley family. According to an incident report, the scheme has been going on since June 20th, 2024, and that date's wrong. Correction there. It's 2025, but that's okay. And continued until September 15th, 2025. The money and goods were sent to the Whittaker family under the names Eric Carroll and Patrick Roark. Troopers identified the suspects as John Patrick Roark, 46, of Odd, West Virginia, and Lawrence Eric Carroll, 41, of Waverly Hall, Georgia. Investigators are requesting that anyone who has sent money or merchandise to Roark, Carroll, or any other individuals connected with the Whittaker family contact the police and provide information about those transactions. Any other individuals connected with the Whittaker family. That means, have you sent anything to anyone that's intended for the Whittaker family? Be sure to reach out. The case is being handled by Corporal J.W. Gilkeson of the Beckley Detachment. Anyone with information is asked to call 304-256-6700. Again, this case is being handled by Corporal J.W. Gilkeson of the Beckley Detachment. Anyone with information is asked to call 304-256-6700. Let's go, y'all. It's time to get the evidence we need to go with the evidence we already have. Now, again, if you've donated to Eric or Patrick on behalf of the Whittakers, there's going to be this investigation is going to take a little time. So we need those numbers. We need to figure out exactly what kind of fraud we're looking at, because it's big. And I'm just telling you, it's big. And not only that, this family has been taken advantage of for far too long in the media. And before you say it, why are you butting in? What you got to do with this? Well, I live here. So get over it. And they messed with the wrong hillbilly. I've been sitting on the background, letting, these stories be told about the Whittakers and just hoping the best for the family, trying to butt out of it, because there is a lot of this that Eric and Patrick have done that is unfortunately illegal, or unfortunately legal. So people come in, media's done this since the camera was invented. They come into Appalachia, they take their camera, they point it at the dirtiest homes, they point it at the dirtiest people, although they don't really know those people. They just know they're dirty. So they film them and they say, look at these poor individuals. They are so destitute. Whatever shall we do to remember the forgotten? They do all this because of several reasons. One, they're rationalizing the problems of the world sometimes onto Appalachia, saying, look at them Trump voters. Look at this. Look at that. This is the reason things are the way they are. It's them dumb hillbillies. Well, guess what? You're being fooled. The stories of Appalachia are so rich and full that you could possibly never learn them all in your lifetime. And that's what Creepalachia has been dedicated towards. But also, we take up for people, especially our own, who don't have the ability to defend themselves. And if you're defending Eric or Patrick and you've been coming at me, it's okay. Listen, we're all in this together. You were taken advantage of. Your heart was treated like a wallet, and the nickels were raying out of it, and you gave out of your heart because you love this family. And we all do. The Whittakers are just very, very personable and, fun-loving and a typical family in Appalachia, but they have been taken advantage of. You need to realize this. Now, let me explain to you a little bit about the charges that are coming. Now, who knows how many are coming, but I'm just going to explain to you the ones that I feel have been, present. And like I said, some of it was legal, unfortunately. Where you get into legalities is when you take donations for false pretenses and you don't provide those donations to who you're saying you're going to provide them to. I'll get into the contract that's been mentioned in a minute. There's a lot of holes there, first off. I can't wait to see it. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a napkin, but we'll get into that in a minute. So let me explain wire fraud. So, all right. So let's just say you go into a gas station. You bring a jar. You put out the jar. You say, I got an idea. Let's raise money for cancer. And maybe you got good intentions. Maybe you're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to give this to people with cancer. So let me take this jar. Let me put it in the gas station and let me see who all will help me. And we'll go from there. So people come in and they, out of the kindness of their own hearts, give money to the cause because that's what people do. We take care of each other. When people are in need, we help them out. So you collect all this money and, eventually you decide, let me go see how that cancer jar is doing. I'm going to go get that jar. So you go in, you say, oh, Lord Jesus, look at that cancer money. We got some money today. All right. So, all right. You basically take this jar and you take it home. And you never do anything with it. That's what's called fraud. Now, let's take that scenario and put that into the digital world. You're collecting donations for, a poor family, let's say. And donations start pouring in, probably from across the world, come to find out. But they start pouring in and, you're like, oh, look at this. You start saying, we're going to build so-and-so a house. Sound familiar? We're going to build a house. So what does that do? That tells you, oh, I want to help them build that house because I'm a good person and they're good people too. And they're taking care of these other good people. Let's all do this together. So you start giving. You start giving and numbers start adding up. Videos are releasing. And it's a great time. You're going to get this house built for this family. Well, all of a sudden, the house blows up. Not literally, but metaphorically. Something happens. A tragedy occurs. There's a scapegoat involved. And you decide you're not going to build that house. Now, did you put that scapegoat there? I feel you did. Time will tell. And all of a sudden, I can't build the house with the money because I don't trust who's going to be in the house. So the money's still there. And that's called wire fraud. When you do that across state lines, when you take money like that, that's when the federal government gets involved and says, hey, you can't just take money saying you're taking it for something else. Those donations that went straight to you saying, buy you something good to eat, honey. God bless you. You've done such a good job. All that stuff is legal. When you start saying, hey, give me money for A, and you don't give it to A, that's called wire fraud. And when investigations open, it's too late. If it's sitting there and you've done nothing with it, let's see what the court decides. But you're probably going to face some charges there, as you should, because you're taking advantage of disadvantaged people. And that's why everyone out there, if you've gave to them and you have your intentions were that your donation were going for the Whittakers, you need to call this number. It is very important, because cases like this, depends on how transparent everyone's being. I hope they give everything up. I hope they give access to all their apps. I hope they talk about the cash donations that have been mailed in. I hope they do the right thing. But we need you. We need all of us to come together and quit with the crap and stand up to Eric Carroll and Patrick Roark and say, we're not going to let you take advantage of these people anymore. And do your part. And before you say it, you're making money off them too. You're posting too. They took our jobs. Before you say that, I'm donating 100% of what is made from any Whittaker content we create to a good charity that I feel is doing great things. And eventually, after we get the toilet flushed, get this out of the way, I'm going to take care of the Whittaker family in my own way. And no, you're never going to hear about it. I'm never going to talk about it. I'm never going to write about it. And you can deal with that answer. That's what's going to happen. And if you want to check receipts, it's real easy to do these things. Go to my Facebook. I made a post of me giving to Just for Kids, a really good organization in Southern West Virginia. And you'll see. It's very easy. It's very easy to be transparent about these things. They can say, oh, well, we're starting to trust. We're doing this. We're doing that. All they want. And that stuff's important because, yeah, when you have a family on a fixed income and you throw them piles of money, stuff's going to go awry. Systems are going to have to, adapt to that situation. There's, with fixed income, you can't earn additional money. That's why a lot of these people are trapped. They can't, you say, get a job. Okay, yeah, okay, that's great. It's hard to find pay equivalent to what you're getting paid. So what are they supposed to do? I mean, now listen, I'm a hustler. Always have been. But I also don't judge people for their situations. And that's the problem here. You need to realize this is bigger than all of us. This is to ensure future scammers in Appalachia do not take advantage of our people. And not only that, everywhere else. This is going to be a monumental case in ensuring families are protected from the evil that can occur from a camera. And I hope you join us. If you have donated to this effort to Eric Carroll or Patrick Roark, you need to call this number and you need to provide your receipts of what you've donated. We're going to do this together, and we are going to ensure that this family is taken care of together. I appreciate you. Now, I'm going to play a little clip. Basically, I got a 30-minute interview with Patrick asking questions early on in my investigation, and it gives a lot of details. Now, I'm not going to play this whole video because I don't want to impede on the investigation. And to be honest, there's a lot in there that they're going to chase leads for, and it's going to break open a lot of information. I do want to talk about the contract real quick, mentioning before I play this clip. So, it's been mentioned, and I've heard from people involved in the contract. One of the third parties, obviously Patrick has told me, But other people have told me as well. I've talked to people that have seen the contract, so just wait. But there's a third split going on. A third for Eric, a third for Patrick, a third for the Whittakers. Someone brought this up to me recently, and I hadn't even thought about it. But you're counting, 5+ people as 1/3. It's not how it should work. They're each equal parties in the matter. They should not have to take a third and split it. If anyone needs to split a small amount of money, it needs to be Eric and Patrick and their team. So think about that. When you take all these people and wrap them into one thing, it's the whole problem. These are each individuals. Individual people with individual civil rights. So the contract is garbage. First off, I wanted you all to know that because that's part of the problem. You wrap this family into these words. You say inbred. You say hillbillies. You say, look at them poor hillbillies. Look at them poor inbred hillbillies. And then you got people who are just blatantly mean, which is awful. They can't defend themselves. It's not just Patrick and Eric. It's everything that has been created from their face that is legal too. Every effort out there, every video you've seen out there that gets millions of views from their image, millions upon millions of dollars generated in revenue from these images, which I will never show on this channel. Millions and millions of dollars have been gained from this. You have followings that have been built off of these people, that have amassed huge followings that will pay in perpetuity. And yeah, people have started GoFundMes. That's great. I've started GoFundMes myself to help people out. But that's your money. Yeah, they're managing it and saying, here's the money, here's the money. Like Mark Lyda, who made the first video, who, kicked off this insanity. I want to say up front, I think Mark is a creative genius. I love his work. I'm a big fan. All except for this series. And also the active addiction videos. I don't think you should incentivize that because he does pay people for interviews and, which there are some interviews that I've done, like people come in, talk about their paranormal experience. I feel, people should get paid in certain instances. Where I don't is when you are talking about drug addiction, where you are talking about anything true crime related, anyone sharing that experience. When you start paying people, you're twisting their brain into they want to make you happy. They want to tell you what you want to hear. Not that they're not sharing their truth. I'm sure they are, but that's just what happens. So again, I think Mark's a genius, but that first video amassed a mega following. Now, he would have built a following regardless. But let's be honest. Look at the highest video on his channel. I haven't even looked at it in months. I'm not bitter about it. I wish him luck. But I'd guess that the Whittaker stuff is really high up there. Now, with these followings you amass, you get subscriptions, you get, donations, you get money, you get this, that, yada, 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 yada. That is a following that will stick with you in perpetuity, who will buy your merch, watch your videos. There is no calculation you can possibly do for what poverty porn does for channels. There's no calculation. Now, again, it's legal. But where the wire fraud came in with Patrick and Eric is illegal. And we have to protect these people. We have to protect Appalachia. We have to protect West By God, Virginia. And that's why I'm budging into this, because I have the skill set to give y'all the truth. And if you believe it, it's up to you. Free country. If you want to comment, you're just in it for money. You know, that's fine. Have fun with that. I really don't care. I find it kind of humorous that, like, people will take the time to say certain things and, you know, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, man, they typed out 3 paragraphs telling me how wrong I am and how Eric Carroll is God bless him for what he's doing. Well, you know what? I wrote out a long explanation for my theory. It's totally speculation. I'm not going to put it on this video, but it's on my Facebook page and you can read it. But it kind of explains what I feel happened. And I think Eric probably did have some good intentions, but you're not going to come up from Georgia and one of the first things you do is you have a disabled family sign a contract. Get out of here with that. Come on. Come on. Think. You're not going to do that. You probably have some kind of savior complex inside where you're like, I'm going to take care of this family and also I'm going to make a good living. Yeah. Well, guess what happened? The make a good living blew up. And you got scared because you knew. I don't think Patrick necessarily knows where the fraud came in. I think he's complicit because he unknowingly committed the fraud, asking for donations. But Eric Carroll started to figure out this is a crime. So he blew the whole thing up. And here we are. The state police has opened an investigation. And I'm so grateful that this is going to be looked into. Now, we're just talking federal charges. Who knows how far this thing's going to go? Who knows what's going to be uncovered? Thankfully, you know, a lot of the family are safe right now with APS, and they're working through the situation. This is not over by a long shot. There's going to be so many things investigated over this. So much mud has been thrown. Eric and Patrick at each other, and you know, really, you know, throw all the mud you want at me. I'm just here to give you the facts, and I'm here to protect my home from future scams. So I hope you listen to all those words. Okay. We've heard a lot of words, but now we're getting facts. So to end this, I'm going to play this little clip that you need to hear. And, this is from Patrick Roark's interview that I have provided to the investigation. It's 30 minutes long, and I'm not releasing this ever on any platform. I mean, I'm sure you'll hear the full thing eventually, but here you go. All I know, I have a guesstimate of what all the platforms are making. It may be off,
What's your guesstimate?
Well, across all platforms, I'm guessing anywhere between 40 and 50 a month is my guess. And it may be more. We
might do that this month, but the thing about it is, this month so far that I know of, that whenever me and Eric talked, it's going to be right close to 20,000 a piece. So probably 60,000 this month.
Okay. Oh, I was muted. Do what you want with that. Do what you want. Let's talk facts now. Let's get this family on the path to normalcy. Share this number with anyone you can who you think has donated to Eric Carroll or Patrick Roark on behalf of the Whittakers. And let's ensure this family is on a path to normalcy. Thank you all.